Assalamu alaikum class. So today I am going to discuss the second topic related to the coronary artery disease. The first case was related to the angina, and now I am going to discuss the case related to the myocardial infarction. I have already discussed this case in my physical lab with all of you guys, and today I am going to demonstrate it in a video demonstration. So Mrs. PH is a lady who is 62 years old, and she has the hypertension previously, and for this she takes the bendroflumethiazide, which is a type of thiazide diuretic, and it she's taking it in 2.5 mg OD daily, or once daily. And she has been smoking for over 40 years, and she is also the overweight patient. And this morning she had a funny turn that when she was waking up from her bed, uh, she fell down to the floor, and due to this her husband called an ambulance, and she was taken to the ER department of the hospital, or the emergency department. And she said that she felt generally unwell, and she could not specify any particular symptoms, but she has been vomiting, and she's having the nausea since morning. And in the accident and emergency department of the hospital, an ECG would be recommended for her, and the ECG showed the acute ST elevation, uh, and blood tests were also recommended. And for this patient, she has the raised creatinine kinase MB, and these are the creatine kinase MB and troponins, and these are the cardiac markers or the cardiac enzymes. And these are the enzymes which are present on the myocardial muscles, and they are responsible for the contraction and relaxation process of the heart. And if they are raised in the blood, then they are the markers of the uh, heart attack or the myocardial infarction. And a venous blood glucose level of 23.6 millimolar per liter were also being reported and confirmed. So my question is that what will be her diagnosis according to you, and what are her risk factors for the cardiac diseases, and how should she be treated acutely, and what important lifestyle changes should she make in order to uh, minimize the risk of the MI in future, and what targets for the glycemic control would be appropriate. So what is her diagnosis? Mrs. PH has her ECG showed that she has ST elevation on her ECG, and she has the raised cardiac isoenzymes, which are the cardiac markers, which include that she had an acute myocardial infarction. And due to the less oxygen supply, or due to the blockage of the coronary arteries, she her blood get ischemic attack, and it will lead to the it will lead to the acute myocardial infarction. And her raised blood glucose levels suggest that she has the type 2 diabetes mellitus, which was previously undiagnosed, and the presentation of her MI is likely to be associated with the previously undiagnosed type 2 DM. And her presentation is atypical, as we all know that she does not complain of any pain, but in particularly in patients or in people with the diabetes, there is a greater incidence of the myocardial infarction where the pain is absent. And this is all due to the neuropathy, in which the nerves in diabetes, the nerves get damaged, and the receptors lost their sensitivity, and they cannot sensitize the pain. So particularly in people with the diabetes. They does not complain of any type of pain in case they have the acute myocardial infarction attack. And this is often referred to as the silent MI, where all the symptoms are absent, and a pain free MI can often delay a diagnosis and sometimes means that a diagnosis is not made, since the patient may not realize that something went wrong. So what are her risk factors for the cardiac disease? Her risk factors are the hyperglycemia, as she has the previously undiagnosed type 2 diabetes mellitus, and she is overweight or obese. And obesity is one of the risk factor, and her hypertension and smoking habits are also the risk factors for her cardiac disease or the attack of the acute MI. And hyperglycemia is associated with substantially increased risk of developing the cardiovascular disease. As we all know that the diabetes mellitus is a mother of all diseases, and it will lead to the further organ damage, particularly the heart. And additionally, she is a long-term smoker, which increases her risk of the macrovascular and microvascular complications of diabetes. And the cardiovascular disease and death are more common in people with the diabetes who smoke, and the risk being greater than in people who do not have diabetes. My third question is that how should she be treated acutely? The answer is this lady requires the thrombolysis treatment, which include the thrombolytic agents or the antiplatelet agents, which will inhibit the aggregation of the platelets at the site of the injury in the arteries. And she also needs to treat with the aspirin or the acetyl salicylic acid or ascard. For that, she will and due to this, her blood will get thin, and it will lead to the proper blood flow towards the heart, and heart will not have to work hard in order to pump the blood. And IV insulin and glucose treatments should also be recommended in order to minimize the hyperglycemia, or in order to treat the hyperglycemia. And the beta blocker ACE inhibitors or an antiemetic should also be given. Analgesia should also be considered. And yes, the beta blocker would be the next choice if the ACE or ARB would fail to treat this patient. Analgesia should also be considered. And as she is not complaining any type of pain, but we will give any painkiller in order to reduce the analgesia. And thrombolysis should also be given promptly on confirmation of the diagnosis of the acute MI, even if the diabetic patient has proliferative retinopathy, since the risk of the vitreous hemorrhage is small and outweighed by the benefit of the thrombolysis. And we all know that we must take the we must take into account the risk benefit ratio of any medication. If the risks are less and the benefits are more, then we will consider that type of therapy on priority basis. And we will also consider the cost effectiveness. If the medication is costly and it is less effective, then we will not consider that type of medication for our patient, as it will not be convenient to afford the expensive medications to everyone. So we will also consider the risk benefit ratio and the cost effectiveness of the medication. The benefits of the thrombolysis appear to be greater for the diabetic patients and than in non-diabetic population. Aspirin should be taken as soon as after the infarct has been shown to reduce the mortality, even if the thrombolysis is given. So we will recommend her aspirin when we will discharging that patient. What important lifestyle changes should she make? Mrs. PH needs to stop smoking and try to reduce her weight first, and we will help her to quit smoking. First, we will give her the nicotine replacement therapy, which will be available on prescription, and the nicotine patches would be given in that therapy, and slow and gradually we will reduce the dose, and after some times we will stop this therapy, and it will help her to quit smoking habit since she has been smoking since many years. Macroalbuminuria, proteinuria, and neuropathy are 2 to 3 times more likely in those patients who smoke. So, these complications, so we will educate the patient about these complications so that she will convince in to quit smoking. And smoking cessation services are also offered in some hospitals and also in primary care, and access to support network may also be considered benefit to many patients. We will access, or we will contact her family members, her husband or her children, and we will educate them that they can help her in order to change her lifestyle, in order to quit smoking habits, etc., in order to make her life more better. And Mrs. PH should also be advised that losing weight may greatly improve her condition, and access to the dietetic services should also be provided so that her diabetes would be managed in future. Another last question is that what target for the glycemic control would be appropriate? So answer is that we all know that HbA1c, which is the uh, hemoglobin, to that part glucose binds to the to the hemoglobin or to the blood, and AHA and ACCA, American Heart Association, has given the different guidelines regarding the target range for the HbA1c. So for the future management, targets for the glycemic control should be set to reflect the individual patient, and since this lady has no particularly old and already has macrovascular disease, so the target for the HbA1c should be below 6.5%, and it would be ideal condition for that patient. This is all about the case of the MI. If you have any question, then you can ask me anytime. Thank you so much.